Part 9. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifen Si Wang. Chapter 81. The battle on Hal Star ended with the victory of the Sky Sword Legion. The moment Sokka was killed by Binghua, the remaining male angels did not choose to continue to resist to the end, but surrendered directly. Binghua, who was on the edge of the battlefield, was also sent back to the Sky Blade for treatment by the escorting angels. It was detected that all the bones on Binghua's body had suffered severe impact injuries, especially the bones in the chest and arms that were most severely damaged. The reason why the word damaged is used is because super soldiers are different from ordinary living individuals. As long as the genetic engine is not destroyed and the consciousness is not lost, then all injuries to the body are called damaged and can be treated and recovered. This is the situation that Binghua is in now. At this moment, she is only wearing simple underwear and lying on a bed that looks like an experimental table. A white light was projected from the top of the room and continued to move back and forth on her body, quickly repairing some small wounds and internal musculoskeletal damage on her body. Although Binghua's eyes were closed together, she was actually not idle. As the commander of the Heavenly Sword Legion, she was still there. Of course, the command during the war can be entrusted to Angel Ran for decision-making, but the disposal of the male angel prisoners after the war and the future development plan of the Tianjian Legion must be personally issued by her, the Legion commander. Ran, it's best for you to go to Hal Star and start recruiting troops as soon as possible. Although we won the ambush battle in the Har Star system, the guards left by King Tianzhan to guard Mir Star are still there. We must prevent their counterattack. We must do something good intelligence work. If Mir Star intends to fight us to the death and continue to send troops to attack the Hal Star system, then we will evacuate here in advance. Yes, Legion Commander. Angel Ran, who was on the planet Hal, nodded. Even though they were far apart, this did not affect Binghua's conversation with her. Lan, how are the sisters recovering from their injuries? Among the sky blades parked in the outer orbit of the Hal Star, as soon as Angel Lan received Binghua's dark communication, a happy smile appeared on his face, and then he immediately replied. Legion Commander, don't worry. Most of the sisters' injuries have recovered very well. Only some sisters who were injured by flame-level weapons need extended treatment time. We are solving this flame energy, and I believe it will be cracked and eliminated soon. That's good. By the way, Lan, I have a map of the various mineral deposits in the Hal Star system. Several of them are precious red gold mines. Instruct the research angels to immediately build the Tianjian Engineer -1 robot. Mining, you can handle the rest according to the situation. It's the Legion Commander. Angel Lan nodded and then asked. Sister Binghua, how are you recovering from your injuries? It's okay, don't worry about me Lan, you will be able to see me intact in a few days. Everyone was told to go down. After Binghua hung up the communication, he stayed alone in his dark plane. Before Binghua could contact others, 3 communication requests appeared at the same time, and it was Kaisha, Liangbing and He11. Binghua, long time no see. Congratulations on winning the Battle of Hal. The Heavenly Sword Legion has been reborn in your hands. I heard that you also killed a 3rd-generation male angel this time. Kesha's face in the projection is smiling, and she is sitting in a very casual posture on a large white seat covered with red cushions. Sister, Binghua has already conquered a star system. We, the Apocalypse Army, cannot fall behind. Let's see how I use micro-wormhole tactics to trick those angel scum next. Liangbing's signature energetic laughter comes out, and while talking, her hands and feet move around in an awkward manner, full of the vitality of a girl. But Hexie was very calm. Binghua's safety clearly made her feel at ease, and a slight smile could not help but bloom on her cold sister-like face. Hey, Hexie, this is the first time the iron tree has blossomed. Liangbing shouted exaggeratedly in the projection. After hearing this, he 11 regained his composure on the spot. His eyes as blue as the stars looked at Liang Bing without a trace of emotion, which actually made Binghua, who was watching the show, feel something from it. A feeling of looking down. Just like a respected elder disdains the same knowledge as an ignorant child. It was obvious that Liang Bing's personality couldn't bear this kind of look. She was the first to stir up trouble, and she was the first to lose her temper. Hexy, what's that look in your eyes? Do you think I'm a child? You said that yourself. I didn't say you were a child. Okay, we didn't contact Binghua just to make a fuss. Liang Bing, Hexy, can you two calm down for a while? Liang Bing muttered a few words and stopped talking. He 11's expression did not change at all, still looking like an intellectual royal sister. Binghua, you are facing off against the third-generation warrior this time. How do you feel about the combat effectiveness of the third-generation male angel? Kesha came up to ask the most critical question. Although personal power does not play a big role in the War of the Grand Legion, it depends on who it is. The third generation of super soldiers is like a peerless warrior on the battlefield, the kind that cannot be defeated by 1,000 people, and the reality is often crueler than imagined. Since super soldiers are combat units that exert huge destructive power with their smallest size, it is basically impossible to rely on a large number of first-generation warriors to surround and kill third-generation warriors. Because super warriors are intelligent, they know how to turn danger into good fortune and avoid situations and environments that are unfavorable to them. Facing Kesha's question, Binghua could only answer 4 words. Invincible. When Kesha heard this, the 3 Hexy girls, including Liang Bing, frowned because Binghua's answer was beyond their expectations. The answers they expected were words such as very strong, powerful, difficult to defeat, but they did not expect Binghua's answer to be invincible. Binghua didn't say anything more. No words could be as convincing as letting Kesha and the others see the scene with their own eyes. Binghua directly retrieved the memory picture of his battle with Sokka. Of course, he removed his supervisory consciousness and various emotions at that time. Otherwise, if Kesha and the others knew what he was thinking at that time, he would be embarrassed to death. Binghua didn't have to wait too long, and soon Kesha, Liang Bing, and Hexy read the memory information transmitted by Binghua. Kesha lamented that the attack is very powerful, surpassing ordinary second-generation warriors by several times. Liang Bing's was much simpler. What the hell is this abnormal speed? There's no time to calculate the wormhole dodge. Dark energy can be driven so easily, and it doesn't seem to require any computing power at all. Hexy's focus is different from Kesha Liang Bing's. She focuses on the differences between Sokka as a third-generation super soldier and a second-generation super soldier besides physical fitness. And judging from his meditative look, it was obvious that he had gained something, as if he had been inspired by something. Dear readers, the author has created a group. Anyone who is willing to provide character templates and various good ideas can join the group for discussion. There is currently an urgent shortage of people in the group. Group number, 717220613. The verification information is the title of this book. If any of you readers have friends who like super gods, you can recommend this book. The more people read the book, the more motivated the author will be to write. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 82. Angel Nebula, the outer reaches of the Angel Galaxy, the dark and deep universe. Among the floating stars, a continuous line of medieval warship-style spaceships are connected together, even covering a starry sky. And more than 20 huge celestial warships are like floating continents parked among countless medieval warships. In a huge conference hall, 9 thrones were placed in the hall corresponding to 9 directions. At this moment, 9 angel kings were sitting on the thrones. It's so unlucky. We have been here for several years. When will we be able to force that guy Huaya out of his turtle shell? The person who spoke was King Tianyi, Haglass. He had handsome features and golden thorny hair hanging down behind him. He was wearing a dark heavy armor with exquisite carvings. The muscles on his exposed thick arms were bulging, giving people a sense of strength. A wild and ferocious aura. There is no need to worry. When the construction of Hepolias is completed, it will be time for us to attack the celestial city. The next person to speak was Tian Li King, Hua Yang. He had blonde hair and a pair of eyes as deep as the starry sky. He wore silver armor with blue cloud patterns engraved on it, and a blue-white velvet cloak. I hope it's like what you said, otherwise there will be no need for our alliance to continue to exist. An old man with silver hair, a few wrinkles on his forehead, but a very rosy complexion, and a short silver beard. What King Tianchang said is that if there is no way to break through Tianchang, then there is really no need for us to stay here. The person who interrupted at this time was the Heavenly Killer King, Hua Sui. He slightly opened his eyes and looked a little defeated, but he was wearing the most complicated black armor with silver patterns on the seam, and his long brown hair was scattered behind him. The other remaining ones, such as King Tianzhan, King Tianlian, King Tianyu, King Tianzu, and King Tianchu, didn't say much, but just nodded in agreement. The people working in this hall are all angel kings, but they are vaguely divided into 4 factions, which are the 4 angel kings who just spoke. This is also a helpless matter. Not all the expatriate kings peep at the position of the King of Angels. The reason why they came to participate in this crusade against Huaya is because Huaya wants to deprive them of the divine body that they finally promoted. For his own practical benefit, the Angel King, who did not have much ambition, was naturally willing to kick Huaya off the throne and replace him with someone else. The few expatriate kings who were not too obsessed with the position of the King of Angels were not like this at first, and they were somewhat ambitious. But when the 9 kings formed an alliance, in order to choose a commander-in-chief, the 9 angel kings had a friendly discussion. In the end, a living planet was turned into a lifeless Death Star under the ravages of their 9 angel kings. At the same time, 4 extremely powerful angel kings were selected. In the end, the 4 angel kings fought for a long time, but no one was convinced. They had to decide that the 4 kings would jointly command the Angel Alliance. The remaining 5 defeated foreign kings also began to take sides, and the entire 9 kings alliance was faintly divided into 4 factions. The Hepolias mentioned by King Tianli before was the super project built by the 9 kings in order to break the defense system of Tiancheng. Its name was Hepolias. Herpolias, this is the name of the god who destroys all things in the ancient mythology of the angelic civilization. Legend has it that he has some unparalleled power. Every time he revives, he will destroy all things. He is the destroyer of all things and brings the end of the world. The god of Yan. Of course, this is something that the angel civilization has long overturned. The reason why it is named after the god of destruction is because Hepolias carries the expectations of the 9 angel kings to break the defense system of the celestial city. Herpolias was built on the edge of a star. It was a super large celestial weapon system about thousands of kilometers long. The back half was like an umbrella-shaped funnel, and the front half was a long cylindrical shape. In the past few years, the affiliated civilizations under the angel civilization and the major summoned races have been building bricks and mortar for this very large facility, Hepolias. The high temperature emitted by the blazing star forced these affiliated civilizations who built Hepolias to wear armor equipped with energy shield generators. Even so, they had to withstand the high temperature and various radiations that could bake them into coke. Working. The noble angels naturally act as overseers, and they disdain to do such lowly construction work. Have you heard? Herpolias is about to be built, and our peaceful days are almost over. Yes, once this thing is built, we will go to the battlefield. I don't know if I can return to my hometown alive. After saying this, the male angel sighed, and the male angel standing guard reached out and patted his shoulder to comfort him and said at the same time, "Under the leadership of the king, we will survive." After saying that, the two of them continued to look out at the orange-red scenery, and they could just see a corner of the star. Among the more than 20 celestial warships that suddenly gathered together, two of the celestial warships, along with dozens of warship-style warships hundreds of meters long, broke away from the huge fleet group and headed towards the Angel Galaxy. At the same time, in Tiancheng several light-years away, as agreed by both parties, the same two Tiangong flagships left their berths in Tiancheng and sailed towards the universe. The celestial warship dispatched by the foreign king group stopped just outside the range of Tianquan's inter-system star destroyer strike, and in the opposite area thousands of kilometers away, Tiangong's Tiangong flagship just jumped over. The two sides started daily scolding battles, sending their own three-generation super soldiers to fight against each other, just like generals on the battlefield, and it had almost become a habit. In fact, this is also a helpless move. The foreign king group does not dare to attack Tiancheng with a large army, otherwise it will be blown up by Tianquan's inter-system star-destroying strike. At the same time, Huaye was unwilling to leave Tiancheng to attack the foreign king's group that was several times his own, because he felt very guilty and was afraid that he would be defeated and his throne would be taken away from him. So the two sides entered the strategic confrontation stage several light-years apart. Huaye, who was nestled in Tiancheng, looked very calm as he watched more and more soldiers under his command. Coupled with the generals under the command of the digital generation god, he felt that the longer time delayed, the better it would be for him. In order to break the super shield of Tiancheng, the expatriate king group proposed the Hippolyus plan. They wanted to use the strongest spear to pierce Huaye's super shield to break this confrontation. In fact, the expatriate king's Hippolyus plan is not a secret. Not to mention Huaye, all the female angels on Binghua's side have obtained this information, and there is even a rough structural diagram of Hippolyus. In fact, the real situation is that Huaye is so confident in Tianquan's defense system that he dismisses the Hippolyus plan hatched by the foreign kings. Because the high-end technology talents under his command were killed and kidnapped by the female angels who invaded Tiancheng decades ago, no scientific research officer could estimate the power of Hippolyus. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifen Si Wang. Chapter 83. Binghua sat on the throne in the slightly rested former male angel metal palace on Hal Star, looking up various useful information about the interior of the Angel Nebula that had been sorted by Angel Ran. Sometimes Binghua had to be grateful that she could have such a capable command messenger as Angel Ran. Angel Ran is responsible for many complicated tasks such as the deployment of the Heavenly Sword Legion's troops, the training of new recruits, and the intelligence analysis and reporting. He is a super capable subordinate. The Hippolyus plan. I have to say that these foreign kings are really crazy. Binghua read some important information from Angel Ran, and the one that attracted her the most was the Hippolyus project that the expatriate king group had been secretly carrying out in recent years. After Binghua looked at the general structure of Hippolyus, he directly deduced its general working principle. Don't forget that Binghua himself also has considerable attainments in stellar energy drive technology. The principle of Hippolyus is actually not complicated. Like the Skyblade battleship, it utilizes several branches of stellar energy drive technology, such as stellar energy extraction, stellar energy gathering and other high-end application knowledge. According to Binghua's estimation, when Hippolyus is running at full power, the energy of the stars collected at one time will be countless times that of the Skyblade, and the energy released in an instant can easily blast several planets to pieces. But these are not things Binghua needs to worry about. After all, Hippolyus is not aiming at himself, but in the direction of Tiancheng. It is Huaye who should have a headache. 7 days after the Battle of Hal, among the Skyblades parked in the outer orbital space of the Hal star, Binghua led hundreds of guardian angels to stand in the Skyblade Stellar Energy Reactor Hall. The atmosphere in the hall was very silent at this moment, and an unknown sadness filled the air. In front of Binghua and other female angels, a female angel who was well groomed and even her armor looked brand new was lying quietly on a metal plate half a meter above the ground with her hands clasped on her abdomen. These beautiful female angels with their eyes closed have fair and smooth skin, with a slight rossiness, as if they were asleep. But everyone present knew that their consciousness had left their bodies, leaving only an empty body. Nearly 10,000 female angels almost filled the hall in the heavenly sword engine area. Binghua looked at the appearance of these warriors who generously died for the heavenly sword legion, and felt very uncomfortable in her heart, just like she had just learned about the heavenly sword legion more than 10 years ago. The moment the Sword Corps commander fell. Send farewell to our departed sisters. Their appearance, their heroic appearance in battle, all of this will be remembered forever by the Skyward Sword Legion. Although they left us early in the process of creating legends, our remaining sisters will inherit their last wishes and create our own legends as female angels. Angel Ran took a step forward. Although her eye circles were a little red, she still recited the above words loudly. Binghua was just wearing a military uniform, watching the scene quietly, with Ran's sad words echoing in his ears. Although this passage was made by Ran Nian, but now that he listened to it again, it was still so unpleasant that Binghua wanted to block his ears. In the middle of the hall of the Skyblade engine, there is a spherical sphere that emits the light of a hot star, just like a miniature star. On the left and right sides, there are funnel-shaped silver devices that tightly bind this small sun formed by the concentration of pure stellar energy, supplying energy to the huge celestial battleship everywhere. After Angel Ran recited those words, all the metal plates with the remains of the angel warriors lying on them began to drift towards the blazing fireball. This is a funeral that belongs exclusively to angels. Angel civilization believes that angels should be just like they were born after death. They should not leave anything of themselves in the world. It is enough to leave only traces of their existence and let them blend in after death. In the universe, Binghua and a group of angels just watched quietly as the body of a famous female angel was burned by the hot star energy and turned into floating dust and slowly disappeared without any other movement. Just when the foreign kings were vigorously tinkering with the so-called Hepolius plan, and publicizing it in an attempt to make Huaya jump over the wall and leave the celestial city to attack them, the heavenly sword legion that attacked the HAL star system fell into temporary silence. The defender of Mir Star, for unknown reasons, did not send troops to attack the HAL star system again. In this way, the two sides temporarily fell into an inexplicable silence, and the entire Mir galaxy also fell into calm. But at the same time, the territories of other male angel kings were also attacked by Kesha, Hexi, and Liang Bing. Moreover, they only picked the weaker ones among the male angel kings, and at the same time, they attacked some star systems that were insignificant but could increase their own strength. Just like the HAL star system occupied by Binghua, it is located on the edge of the Mir star system. There are no affiliated civilizations around it, and there are no overly large red gold and Tei mines. Among them, the one with the most violent offensive is Kesha. In the past few years, the Skyblade Legion under her command has expanded to 350,000, and the second-generation Guard Angels also have a scale of thousands. Kesha didn't use any tricks, she just crushed them openly and openly. 7 or 8 Skyblades directly pressed on, and tyrannically defeated the tens of thousands of male angel legions that were facing them. In the end, only the third-generation male angels who were the commanders and several 10 guards narrowly escaped. Liang Bing was much simpler. She used her talent in space to create a space corridor that grafted onto each other, and designed it to trap the 3 generations of male angel warriors inside, without choosing a head-on conflict. In the end, it was not until Liang Bing achieved his goal and all the Apocalypse Legion withdrew from the target star system that the 3 generations of warriors on the male angel side escaped from the space corridor. As for the Sky-based Legion, He-11 fought very rigorously. Various large-scale energy weapons were advanced layer by layer. After strict calculation, several Sky Blades relied on powerful firepower to suppress the male angel. He was in pain and forcibly removed the male angel from the target star system. Forced back. Generally speaking, the Sky-based Legion suffered the least losses and consumed the most resources. The Apocalypse Legion also suffered little loss because it avoided direct conflicts with the third-generation warriors. Although the Sky-Blade Legion suffered a lot of losses, it gained the most, because it was the male angel who defeated them head-on. It gained not only resources and soldiers, but also a seemingly illusory reputation. But it was this illusory reputation that made Kesh's reputation further among the female angels, and the faint voice of becoming king resounded among the Sky-Blade Legion. Because the number of legions in the angel civilization is between 60,000 and 100,000 warriors, Kesh's current strength has reached more than 300,000, which is beyond the scope of the legion and is infinitely close to the 400,000 troops of the foreign king. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 84. After the faint sound of kingship from the Sky-Blade Legion reached Kesh's ears, as the main leader, she did not clarify anything, neither stopped nor objected. Binghua was not interested in these twists and turns. For the time being, she was only interested in how to strengthen the Heavenly Sword Legion and improve her own strength. After fighting against the third-generation super soldier Sokka, Binghua saw many of his own shortcomings, such as powerful attacks and methods of limiting enemies. So the previously stagnant weapon manufacturing plans were brought out of her mind again, such as the abandoned electric arc sword, high-frequency weakly wave blade, and the first generation of the flying sword weapon module. Sister Hexie, how much do you know about magnetic field drive? Adhering to the attitude of asking if you don't understand, Binghua contacted He-11 directly and asked in a good manner. However, after hearing Binghua's question, Hexie spoke in surprise. Didn't you learn such a simple thing when you were at Melo Academy? Binghua. Sister Hexie, I only know a little bit, not much, so why don't I come to you? The more Binghua spoke, the softer her voice became. She suddenly felt that it was too much to trouble Hexie for such simple knowledge. I'm really impressed by you. If you have anything you don't understand, just ask. Your sister and I still have some confidence. He-11's face showed a kind of confidence that belongs to a top school fan, and his aura suppressed any dissatisfaction. He motioned to Binghua to ask quickly. To her, the magnetic field drive thing was scum. Then let me ask, Sister Hexie. How can an object carrying huge kinetic energy continue to maintain its original kinetic energy after passing through a micro-wormhole? Also, how to automate the transportation of micro-wormholes? And what about applications of strong magnetic fields? Seeing that He-11 was so confident, Binghua asked about all the difficulties he had encountered. He-11 in the other scene felt dizzy for a moment. Didn't you say that we should only ask about magnetic field driving technology? Why did we also mention space science, micro-wormhole science, and energy correspondence science? But in the end, these failed to stump He-11. After thinking for a moment, a large wave of knowledge came through the dark message. Thank you, Sister Hexie. Binghua felt as if he had found a treasure. A bright smile appeared on his face, which made Hexie feel that it would not be a bad thing to lose some brain cells. After several days of sorting, Binghua finally sorted out and classified the knowledge transmitted by He-11. Hexie is worthy of being a super academic. Binghua feels that Hexie has moved all the information from Marrow College into her mind. It seems that all theories and data for any knowledge can be found in her. However, the algorithm that Binghua wants to drive the magnetic field is not to control metal to fly around and become a female Magneto. She wants super electromagnetic super ejection. Facing the third-generation super warriors, Binghua felt that she could not rely solely on the army breaking armor. Although the army breaking armor provided her with the defense to withstand attacks from third-generation warriors, it was not flexible enough and could only be beaten passively. Therefore, Binghua urgently needed other attack methods to deal with the attack of the third-generation warriors, and the flying sword weapon module that was left in Tiancheng decades ago was recalled by Binghua. Simply relying on magnetic levitation to control the flight of those Han swords is not much slower than a turtle crawling in the eyes of third-generation warriors. So Binghua came up with the idea of using the principle of the electromagnetic gun to use a strong magnetic field to eject the Han sword that makes up the flying sword weapon module at several times the speed of sound. At the same time, a micro-wormhole is opened in front of the Han sword ejection device, so that the opponent can be attacked unexpectedly. For details, please refer to a certain golden thing that is littering. This will require Liangbing's micro-wormhole generation strategy, but fortunately, Liangbing has already uploaded the theory of this strategy, including the real-time calculation algorithm of micro-wormholes, to the database shared by the female angels. Middle. Binghua no longer had to trouble Liangbing about this matter, and Binghua also took this opportunity to upload his simplified stellar energy gathering formula and improved lightning driver to the database. The silver-white ore was thrown into the burning orange star furnace, and in less than 5 seconds, the burning red metal solution flowed out from the other side and floated on a metal platform, reflecting the surrounding environment slightly red. This is the melted Tae raw ore, which is also the main material of the alloy weapons installed by the Angel civilization. After cooling, the hardness and ductility are very strong. While the original Tae mine was still in a melted state, Binghua added trace amounts of red gold and various other rare metals. Slowly, the color of the scorching red metal solution turned to a light silver. Connect the shaping instrument and start shaping with drawing number 10086. A large ball of silvery metal high-temperature solution began to gradually transform into the shape of a sword, and then cooled rapidly under the irradiation of a ray. The final product was a sword with sharp edges and corners, about 1 meter long, with faint red lines on it, 8 sides, and a cold light. This sword had a very famous name in Binghua's previous life. It was called the 8-sided Han sword, and the reason why it was made in this shape is because of Binghua's nostalgia for it. Another reason is of course that it is handsome enough. After having the data of the first casting, the remaining ice flower was handed over to the intelligence system on the Sky Blade to control it, ensuring that the result would be exactly the same as the original, even with the same flaws. Binghua is now the commander of the Heavenly Sword Legion, and his situation is countless times better than when he was in Melo Academy. The resources he can allocate are also massive. Binghua restarted the Fekongyojian weapon module this time, and naturally he was not stingy. Every forged Han sword was added with a trace amount of red gold, which is the main material of the flaming sword, so that it can cause damage to even third-generation warriors. A little threatening. The estimated casting quantity of Binghua is 2,000, all of which are stored in her own weapons arsenal for transportation and retrieval through micro-wormholes at any time. At the same time, the word second generation is also added to the back of the flying sword module. And the main weapon forged by Binghua this time is not only the Han sword, but also another weapon. Its entire body is made of red gold. Even the flaming sword can cut through endless chains. Its name is Shushinshuo, and it is the name of Binghua. In the future, we will fight against the angel kings who surpass the third-generation super warriors and have divine bodies. Its meaning is just like its name, it is a weapon specially designed to restrain the divine body, so it was named the God-binding lock by Binghua. Binghua was now standing in the weapons arsenal, looking at the 100-meter-long chain on the shelf and thinking like this. If the cost of red gold hadn't been too scarce, she would have wanted to build one that was several thousand meters long. At the same time, Binghua increased the maneuverability of the Shushin lock and installed separate microcomputing clouds at both ends of the Shushin lock. Do you think these can satisfy Binghua's obsession with weapons manufacturing? These are not all. This time, the battle on Hal Star was won, and a large number of flame-level weapons were seized. Although it is not enough to ration all the guard angels, it is enough to arm all the first-level and second-level guard angels. The excess was melted by Binghua to supplement the raw materials for her new weapon proposal. The other is the most critical problem exposed when fighting Sokka. There is only a fatal speed gap between the second and third generation fighters. In order to make up for this gap, the first way Binghua came up with was to use the principle of electromagnetic ejection to increase his movement, flight, including attack speed. Treating your body as an object and space itself as an electromagnetic catapult, you can explode at several times the speed. In addition, Binghua is very familiar with the principle of electric energy, so this idea is very likely to be realized. Thanks to the book Friends, Nayuniu who loves wandering for the reward, and the detailed reward. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 85. With the inspiration, of course he immediately went to give it a try. Binghua came alone outside the female angel station on Hal Star and found a place with a good environment and no human habitation. The emerald green soft lawn was trampled under the feet of ice flowers. In addition to the chirping of insects, there was only the rustling sound of the leaves not far away being gently swayed by the breeze. This kind of environment gave Binghua a sense of calmness after a long absence, but she didn't come here to rest today, she had business to do. The environment is good. I hope my idea can be realized. As he spoke, Binghua closed his eyes and began to calculate various data about the surrounding air and space, as well as the strength of his body's ability to withstand electric current. The next step is to activate the lightning drive formula. As soon as Binghua finished speaking, crackling blue lightning appeared around her body, and the lawn on the ground with a radius of several meters was turned into coke. Okay, that's it. Keep it up. Binghua still had her eyes closed, and the flickering electric current on her body slowly calmed down, only pulsating on her body surface. Achieving this step is Binghua's current limit, and more precise control of Binghua is not yet possible. After all, this is not a superpower and can be moved at will. Strictly speaking, Binghua only converts dark energy into lightning, which follows the law of conservation of energy. The converted energy can only be constrained by today's Binghua computing power, but cannot be controlled in detail. While keeping the lightning on his body from dissipating or electrocuting himself, Binghua began to calculate the surrounding magnetic field and allocated part of his calculation power to change the intensity of the magnetic field. Until 2 hours later, Binghua still stood in the same place, not moving forward a step. However, Binghua was not impatient. On the contrary, he was very calm. At the same time, he was not too depressed, because science is a very special subject, and it is necessary to find the only truth hidden in the deepest part among countless falsehoods and failures. Half a day passed before Binghua finally felt a weak push acting on him, but it was not enough. Binghua followed the sign and increased the intensity of the magnetic field and the intensity of the lightning on his body, causing the repulsive force between the two to increase sharply. Suddenly, Binghua's figure disappeared from the spot, and he was caught off guard and hit the ground more than 10 meters away with a loud bang, eating up a mouthful of dirt. Okay, this power is a bit strong, Binghua said depressedly, and at the same time he climbed up from the human-shaped pit that he had smashed, and carelessly patted the soil stuck to the armor. Binghua, who found a sense of feeling, started the experiment again. It wasn't until he ate soil for a long time that Binghua broke away from the reincarnation of constantly flying out and smashing into the ground. The results of a day's experiment showed that it was difficult to control the strength of the magnetic field. If he was not careful, he would be ejected like a cannonball. Although Binghua had conducted countless simulations, he still had not made much progress. However, Binghua will not stop this experiment because of this failure, but now she has other things to do. Although Binghua took care of all the affairs of the Heavenly Sword Legion, there was one thing that Binghua had to worry about. That is the improvement of the overall strength of the Legion, and after the last battle with male angels, Binghua found that the casualty rate of ordinary female angel warriors was a bit high. This is inseparable from the fact that most female angels are new recruits, but Binghua believes that this situation can be avoided. The first way to avoid it is to mix the old and new, and use veteran soldiers with combat experience to lead new soldiers. Although this will temporarily reduce the overall combat effectiveness of the Legion, it is still very beneficial in the long run. The second item was the issue of equipment. It was difficult to make major changes to the armor on the female angel warrior due to the need for air combat and aesthetic issues, so Binghua thought of the gun and shield style combat method she used when fighting against third-generation warriors. In addition, ordinary female angel warriors use long weapons such as spears. If they are combined with a shield to attack and defend, their survivability on the battlefield will definitely be improved. Just do whatever comes to mind, this has always been Binghua's style of doing things. The prototype of the shield is taken from the heavy shield that matches the Pajun armor made by Binghua. The appearance of the two is very similar, but the overall size has been reduced by a circle, and a simple stance anti-vibration and layered shock-absorbing design are also installed. Due to material issues, it is naturally impossible for ordinary warriors' shields to be made of red gold as the main material. Instead, the shields are made of Tia alloy, which is relatively hard. In less than 5 hours, Binghua completed the design and manufacture of the shield. After the finished product came out, Binghua also conducted a test. The defense is passable and can withstand several slashes from raging level weapons. However, if a raging level weapon driven by dark energy can only withstand once at most, the overall structure of the shield will be destroyed. After feeling that it could no longer be optimized with the existing materials, Binghua uploaded the data to the Tianjian database and assigned it to the research angels for mass production. Next is the exclusive weapon she designed specifically for the first generation thunder tactics she envisioned, which is the speed flow tactics she is still experimenting with. The shape template of the weapon was quickly designed by Binghua. It was a thin sword with a length of 1 meter and 2 meters and a blade only 2 fingers wide. However, Hyuka did not make all the rapiers as he expected, and also made some improvements that were more suitable for super warrior combat. If the thickness of the sword body has been increased, otherwise even the sword body made of red gold would be at risk of breaking. The improved rapier is slightly out of the scope of the rapier. The straight and slender sword body and the slightly thick sword spine add a sense of heaviness to it. Moreover, Binghua's rapier is single-edged, so it is urgent. It can also be used as a knife for chopping. While making the rapier, in order to adapt to the changes on the battlefield, Binghua came up with another weapon proposal, which was a whip blade that was freely retractable and famous for its strange attacks, which could also be called a whip sword. Making a whip sword is more difficult than a rapier because Binghua envisions a whip sword that can contract and extend at any time, switching flexibly between whip and sword. This requires extremely malleable metal as the internal skeleton. However, because there is no metal information in this area, Binghua's whip sword manufacturing has fallen into a bottleneck. Just as Binghua was experimenting and beginning to perfect what she called the first generation of thunder tactics, the Heavenly Sword Legion also began to flourish. The female angels who originally settled on the planet Hal finally stopped watching after hearing that Binghua led his army to defeat the reinforcements of the male angels. When the first female angel, who was dissatisfied with the life of being oppressed by male angels and was in a low status in society, signed up to join the Heavenly Sword Legion, all this broke out. When the other female angels saw someone coming forward, they secretly made up their minds, because they felt that the lives of those in the Heavenly Sword Legion wearing battle armor and fighting for themselves made them yearn for it. Their hearts have been imprisoned for hundreds of years. How could they be willing to let go now that they have a chance to break free and live for themselves? A large number of newcomers were added to the Heavenly Sword Legion, making Angel Ran very busy. This made Binghua, who wanted to drag her to experiment with her new skills, a little depressed. Fortunately, there is Angel Lan, a tactical analyst. She is responsible for some scientific research tasks, and some of Binghua's experiments fall within Ian's scope of responsibility. Dear readers, if you like this book, please help promote it. The more people read the book, the more motivated the author will be to update it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 86. On the outskirts of the Angel Galaxy, in the star system where the celestial weapon Hepolias is located, the originally continuous group of battleships were arranged neatly. More than 20 celestial battleships like floating continents were arranged in the middle of the fleet. In the star system behind these fleets, a huge metal creation is standing in the starry sky. Its size is comparable to an artificial planet. In a few years, the affiliated civilizations of the angels have completed an almost impossible super feat project. The celestial weapon named Herpolias was announced to be completed today. Of course, it is only limited to the most basic launch and energy gathering, and does not even have the basic functions of a celestial fortress. The original purpose of sending the Wang Alliance to build Hepolias was to break the absolute barrier of Tiancheng. The original design of Hepolias did not have any functions except for attack. Even the shield and space jump components were not installed, because these were too expensive, and the expatriate kings said that they could not play it at all. That's why Hepolias was able to complete the general construction in just a few years. Now that it was announced that it was completed, these expatriate kings couldn't wait. Because the alliance of expatriate kings is on the verge of breaking up, the expatriate kings themselves are potential rivals, not to mention that as the angel kings themselves, they are arrogant people, and they dislike each other. In addition, part of the expatriate king's territory was harassed by the legions led by female angels such as Binghua, Kesha, Liangbing, Hexi, etc. Of course, they were not willing to continue to waste time here. They are all prepared to bear this breath for the time being. They all ordered their subordinates to focus on defending the important star systems in their respective territories. After the army returned for reinforcements, they would teach those female angels who took advantage of the situation a lesson. If Hepolias cannot break the defense system of Tiancheng, then the alliance will be broken, and the foreign kings will have to return home. The next step is to fight or make peace, depending on their own methods. With millions of angel legions and countless mobilizations of warships from various affiliated civilizations, it was natural that Huaye side in Tiancheng could not be concealed. Huaye sat in the main seat and looked at the picture of the mobilization of the foreign Wang Alliance troops on the projection screen. He touched his chin with sparse stubble and said with a disdainful smile, "He, it seems that Huachi, Hualai and those guys haven't been bombed yet, and they are here to die again. The order is passed and all weapons systems in Tiancheng will be lifted. After enduring it for so many years, I will kill you all this time." After Huaye finished speaking, he stood up from the throne. The faces of the many male angel generals and legion commanders gathered in the palace hall below also showed excitement, and they were all gearing up to do something big. In recent years, because of Huaye's orders, these legion commanders and generals who had nowhere to vent their energy were all hiding in Tiancheng. They had long been unable to bear it. Now that Huaye finally gave the order to take the initiative to attack, they couldn't help but get excited. After Huaye gave the order, these generals retreated and began to gather troops to prepare for the assembly of the army. The foreign king's coalition forces assembled 5 million angel legions, and 28 celestial warships accompanied by tens of thousands of various types of warships from affiliated civilizations headed towards the two front lines of the angel galaxy. The Tiangong side did not show any weakness. Huaye gathered the 3.5 million troops and 100,000 imperial guards that he had accumulated over the years, 10 Tiangong flagships and his own Tiangong number, a total of 3.6 million elite troops to leave Tiancheng. And the super celestial fortress Tiancheng, which had been dormant for several years, also began to operate, acting as Huaye's strongest backing. In the end, the two parties came together in the Angel Galaxy, a star system called Kangal. In this star system lived a planet-level civilization called Kangal. The two major military groups, Expatriate King and Tiangong, arranged their troops one star system apart, without any regard for the attitude of the Kangal civilization that was caught in the middle. The civilization of Kong planet can only pray to the gods it believes in for blessings, hoping that the war between the gods will not affect the planet beneath its feet. In the eyes of some planet-level civilizations or tribal feudal civilizations, angels are gods in the sky, and the war between angels is the so-called war between gods. Huaye is the supreme god king in the legends of these planet-level civilizations, and the expatriate kings are the powerful gods who launched rebellion. This is the powerful reputation that comes with the so-called orthodoxy. In fact, Huaye's Tiangong order, apart from being unfriendly to aerospace level and some special civilizations, has not had much impact on slightly backward planet level civilizations. The reason why aerospace level civilization feels oppressed by the angels is because they have preliminary access to the technology of the god-making civilization. Although it still feels so mysterious and incredible, I also know that it is just the product of the extreme development of technology. Ordinary planet-level civilizations are different. In their worldview, almost immortal angels are the so-called gods. Naturally, they will not feel that they are being exploited, but will feel that they are blessed by the gods. This is the situation of the Kangal civilization today. The angels want to use the Kangal star system as their main battlefield. The top officials of the Kangal people naturally know because they cannot hide it at all. The two fleets that cover the sky and the sun are placed on both sides of Kangal's star system. Anyone with equipment to observe the stars can easily see them. Ordinary civilians fell into a huge panic, and they all began to pray to the gods in the local mythology of Kangal, hoping that they would protect the planet Kangal from being affected. However, Kangal's senior officials all know that the method of praying to the gods can only deceive ordinary people. If they really want to survive the crisis, they have to take sides. Whether he is on the side of God King Huaye or on the side of the rebellious expatriate kings and gods, in fact, Kangal's top management also knows how much he weighs, and it doesn't matter which side he joins. Heavy and complicated footsteps sounded, and a group of tall and short angel kings gathered together for a long time and walked towards the exit of the corridor ahead. The leaders are naturally the four angel kings, Hercules, Huaxiang, Huaqi, and Huasui, whose sense of oppression is much stronger than that of the kings behind them. Tianyi King Heglas is the strongest and tallest, and the most oppressive of the four powerful angel kings. The golden thorny hair was like a lion's mane, giving people an inviolable majesty. Heglas took a step forward. That coward Huaye is finally willing to come out. This time I will make sure he never comes back. Ha ha ha. Seeing Hercules laughing, Huaxiang poured cold water on the side. Let's wait until Hercules' plan is successful. Hercules smiled indifferently, while the remaining angel kings all had serious faces, as if they were outsiders. However, they all have a common thought in their hearts, and that is whether the Hercules plan led by the heavenly Li King can succeed. But looking at the confident face of King Tianli, the other angel kings suppressed their curiosity. They wanted to see how Hercules broke through the defense system of Tiancheng. I have something going on today, so I can only update once for the time being. I'll make it up tomorrow when I have time. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 87. Just when the foreign kings gathered on one of the celestial battleships that they regarded as their wartime flagship. A male angel soldier wearing a simple chainmail quickly flew to a position more than 10 meters in front of the angel kings, then landed on one knee and reported loudly. Report, Heavenly Palace King Huaye sent a communication request. Take it, I'd like to see what Huaye wants to say now. Tianchang King Huaqi spoke, and the other 8 angel kings did not object. Soon a huge projection screen appeared on the platform. In the picture, Huaye is sitting on a golden throne with one hand leaning on the armrest. The armrest of the throne and other parts of the throne are engraved with extremely complex carvings, making it look like nothing ordinary. Behind the throne where Huaye sits is not a palace wall, but a dark universe shining with the light of stars. From the perspective of the angel kings present, Huaye is like a god sitting in the starry sky of the universe, and they are also mortals who look up to gods. Hey! It's been a long time, uncles. I haven't heard from you for several years. To be honest, I miss you a lot. Not long ago, I heard that your uncles planned to visit Tiancheng. As the Lord of Tiancheng, I couldn't do nothing, so I specially left Tiancheng to greet my uncles. Huaye had a mocking smile on his face, coupled with his deliberately awkward and happy expression, which made all the angel kings present grit their teeth in anger. And Haglath, who had the hottest temper, stepped forward directly. With his tall and strong body, he squeezed past the Tianchang King Huaqi in front of him, pointed at the screen and spoke like thunder. Huaye, just sit in that position and moan for a few days. When I step on the Sky City, I will throw everything under your butt into the stars with you, so that you two can merge into one. Oh, your voice is so loud that my ears are almost deaf-end. Speaking of Hercules, why do we have to fight and kill each other? This is so bad. I think you should be like the Chinese businessman of the Heavenly Destruction King, and go to hell with your hometown. In fact, that is good, and I don't need to take action in the future. After a while, the province could not even enter the gate of Tiancheng, so he went back to his hometown in despair, making other people laugh at him for nothing. Ha ha ha. After saying that, Huaye laughed and hung up the communication. Originally, the two parties had nothing to talk about. Huaye was just interested and wanted to discuss the foreign kings. In the end, the two parties still had to see who would win. Big fist. It's too much. He clenched his fists, and the air seemed to be crunched by it. The golden thorns scattered behind him started to explode like a lion's mane. The heavenly King Huaxiang on the side spoke softly to comfort him. Hercules, please calm down first. Huaye can only be arrogant for a short while. After he sees the power of Hercules, I believe his face will become very beautiful. Huaxiang raised the corners of his mouth as he spoke. At the same time, he stretched out his right hand from his cloak and held it in the air in front of him. The confidence in his eyes was undisguised. Herglass snorted coldly, I hope your plan works, otherwise everyone will go back to their respective turfs. Without waiting for the other angel kings to speak, Heavenly King Huaxiang took a step forward, turned around and opened his arms in front of the angel kings, and the blue cloak behind him was also opened, and then spoke words full of confidence from his mouth. Let us witness this light that spans the stars together. On the outskirts of the angel galaxy, the male angels left behind in the star system where Hippolyus was located suddenly received orders. Report to the general. After receiving the order from the front line, King Tianli ordered to start the Hippolyus engine with 10% power, and conduct a test launch targeting the Tiangong army on the outskirts of the Kangal star system. The general under the lieutenant king who stayed behind in Hippolyus waved his hand to indicate that the soldiers could retreat, and then spoke to the male communication angels sitting around him in front of the projection screen. My king is ready to activate Hippolyus and contact the other generals under the 8 kings who are staying behind to unlock Hippolyus's operating authority and ask them to apply for authorization from their respective kings. Yes, general. After saying this, the general who belonged to Tianli Wang Huaxiang stood there and waited. The Hepolia's celestial weapon was originally proposed by King Tianlai to break through the shield of Tiancheng and counterattack Tianquan's plan to destroy stars across galaxies. Because the project was too large and too resource-intensive, King Tianlai could not afford it alone, so the 9 angel kings jointly funded the construction. Similarly, the other 8 kings who participated in the construction of Hepolias also had part of the authority for Hepolias to fire. If Hepolias wants to enter the operational launch state, all 9 kings need to agree, otherwise this weapon will not be able to reassure the other 8 angel kings. The Heavenly Light King himself is an expert in stellar energy drive technology. If he is allowed to fully master the authority of Hepolias, the Heavenly Light King can easily destroy any star system within 10 light years. This destructive power allows the other angel kings had to be on guard. The general who was affiliated with the Heavenly Light King did not let the general wait for too long. Within 2 minutes, the male communication angel below opened his mouth to report. Report. The first authority lock has been lifted, and King Tianyi agrees. The second authority lock is lifted, King Tianchang agrees. The third authority lock is lifted, King Tianslei agrees. The fourth authority lock is lifted, King Tianli agrees. Soon all 9 authority locks were lifted. The general standing in the command room licked his lips and spoke excitedly. Start Hepolias and set the power to 10%. As the order was given, the hundreds of kilometers long cylindrical metal body of Hepolias began to roar slightly. On the side close to the star, the umbrella skeleton structure with an area of thousands of kilometers began to deform slightly and intertwine together, just like a real giant metal umbrella. Then a scene appeared that shocked and horrified the logistics troops of the affiliated civilization parked in the system near Hepolias. The burning orange stellar energy on the surface of the star that originally burned itself quietly in the universe and brought light to the world was actually built at a speed visible to the naked eye into an umbrella-shaped device in the back half of Hepolias not far away. Pull away. Just like a whale sucking water, a scorching orange star with a thickness of hundreds of kilometers can be sucked into the open umbrella-like structure of Hepolias like a stream of water. However, this time was not long. In less than a minute, Hepolias stopped extracting the star energy. Then traces of burning orange energy followed the umbrella-shaped frame and converged on the cylindrical creation in the front half of Hepolias that looked like a cannon barrel, and this power continued to surge forward. Have you taken aim? This is something that can take the angel civilization a step further in the entire universe. Those of us who can witness the scene with our own eyes will be written into the history of the angel civilization. The general in charge of Hepolias turned red, and his tone of voice became impassioned. The dozen male angels below who were responsible for controlling Hepolias's data finally completed the targeting work. The general has successfully aimed and is ready to launch at any time. The general's face recovered a little, and the next moment, the corners of his mouth rose up, like a devil, and he uttered 2 words. Emission. The scorching orange light that had long been gathered at the muzzle of Hepolias and could explode at any time suddenly shot out, like a beam of light from the front of a flashlight, but its diameter was magnified thousands of times. The orange beam of light surged through the layers of darkness into the dark, unknown depths of the universe. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 88. Stellar energy rays with extremely large diameters and higher compression ratios were emitted from the star system where Hepolias was located. After passing through several star systems, they still showed no signs of dissipating and headed straight towards the Kangal star system. Hepolias, who launched this attack, did not withdraw its energy supply, because in order to achieve an attack across galaxies and across light years, the energy emitted must not be dissipated due to distance, otherwise it would not be able to reach the original level of range. This is also the reason why Hepolias was built near a star, because only a star can afford such a huge energy. But it is obvious that the Kangal star system is not too far away from the star system where Hepolias is located. After the dazzling light of Hepolias crossed countless stars in the universe, it finally arrived near the Kangal star system 2 hours after its launch. O king who is sitting here, raise your noble heads and point your sights at the dark starry sky. The heavenly King Huasiang had an intoxicated look on his face, and at the same time he said the above words in the tone of a bard, and as his words fell, the burning orange glow like a flame lit up in the dark starry sky under the gazes of the angel kings, becoming more and more powerful and dazzling, as if a new star was coming from not far away from them. It's like being born bit by bit out of nothingness. Look! The judgment of Hippolyus is coming soon. The light across the stars will judge the unjust God King sitting on the throne in the name of Hippolyus, the god of destruction of all things. And as long as we sit on in the audience, just give him the last overture quietly. Tian Liang was still intoxicated in his chanting, with a chuckle on his face that could charm the opposite sex. His hands seemed to be dancing to some rhythm, and his eyes were closed as if he were listening to some music. An orange beam of light with a diameter of more than 20,000 meters streaked across the starry sky above the head of the expatriate king. Even though they were countless kilometers apart, the millions of angel legions gathered below still felt the devastating threat lingering in their hearts. The ones who were most frightened were the Kangal civilization in the Kangal star system. When they saw the dazzling light that illuminated the night sky as if it were daytime, they were so frightened that they thought it was a stray bullet from the Annihilator star. Their Kangal civilization is about to perish. That ray of light just crossed the Kangal star in the night sky, leaving only a giant light band across the sky. However, this still had a huge impact on Kangal's ecology. Not only did the mechanical equipment malfunction, but even the planet's magnetic field was slightly disrupted. And the Tiangong group, which was the target of Hippolyus, was almost scared to death. When it detected that the covering star, which was measured in kilometers, could strike, everything was already too late. In the face of the speed of light, the Tiangong group's army only had time to disperse the gathered legions as much as possible, and could not even make a space jump. In the end, everyone in the Tiangong army could only watch helplessly as the star with a diameter of tens of thousands of meters bombarded the left wing of the Tiangong army, forcibly wiping out everything in that area. Hippolyus' attack has reached its limit at this point. If you want to achieve a super long-distance attack, you can only achieve the power of the hit at the expense of the attack area, otherwise it is impossible to achieve. Looking at the detection screen, a corner of the Tiangong group's army was directly wiped out. The other angel kings had different expressions, but the same ones were all a little bit shocked. Since the angel civilization crossed over from an aerospace-level civilization to a god-making civilization, the means of war have changed from battleship shooting and long-distance delivery of destructive weapons to large-scale close-quarters combat by super soldiers. This large-scale destructive weapon has not been used on the battlefield for a long time, but this time they found that a famous saying from ancient sages made sense. Caliber is justice, truth is within range. After the shock, many foreign kings were pleasantly surprised. This shows the great success of Hippolyus' plan. They were able to break through Tianquan's defense system and even suppress Tiancheng through the range and hang Huaya up. The other is that the morale of the expatriate Wang Jianjun has exploded. We have such a big killer, and all ordinary soldiers think that our side will win this battle. Everyone, as you can see, Hippolyus' attack has achieved results, and soon the celestial city will be within our grasp. Huasiang, the heavenly King, has returned to his usual appearance from his intoxicated expression, as if he was not the same person before. Then I also congratulate everyone, the alliance does not need to be disbanded. I can't wait to enter Tiancheng to see it. The older-looking Huaqi spoke calmly. At first, he was shocked by Hippolyus' power, but he soon came to his senses. The power of Hippolyus is very powerful, and its range power far exceeds all weapons of the current angel civilization. But Hippolyus also has several fatal flaws. The first is that Hippolyus can only attack stationary targets. If the target moves, the time required from the time Herpolius fires to reaching the destination is too long, and it is unrealistic to use it to annihilate the moving target. The second is the issue of consumption. Even a god-making civilization has to abide by the law of conservation of energy. The transcendent range and power bring huge energy consumption. Even if there is a star as an energy source, Herpolius probably cannot carry out frequent attacks, otherwise the energy of a star will be drained quickly. The third point is that Herpolius was built in a very short time and in a hurry. Not to mention the space jump device, there is not even a shield generator on Herpolius. This allows Herpolius to be paralyzed and scrapped as long as he is attacked to a certain extent, and the resources to repair him can make anyone who thinks that the alien king becomes a pauper. Huaxiang, when will Herpolius be able to carry out another attack? Next time, let me attack Tiancheng. Let's go and fight that bastard Huayet. Naturally, Hercules also thought of several obvious shortcomings of Herpolius. No one who can be a king is a fool. I also agree with Herglass's decision. It's time to let Huaya know how powerful our coalition is. Tianchuang Huasui also started, with a faint cold light in his eyes. Unlike the expatriate king, who was gearing up to attack, the morale of the Tiangong group's legions was a bit low. In the square of the Tiangong, there was a very dull smell, which made all the legion commanders and generals fight in silence. Huaya, who was sitting in the main seat, was no longer as relaxed and casual as usual, and his eyebrows were furrowed as if he was thinking about something. Report the damage. King Baotian Palace, the left wing was covered by an attack that resembled stellar energy, and the number of casualties exceeded 40,000. Today's second update. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 89. After the soldiers finished their report, Huaye's heart twitched slightly. More than 40,000 of his men were evaporated in one go, which made him feel a little sad. But now is not the time to think about losses. Huaye's expression remained unchanged. He raised his head and glanced at the few confidants present, directly looking past Xinyo, Chen Tian, Seminary, and others, and set his sights on Suri and Chen Xing. Although Huaye, who was sitting on the throne, did not say anything clearly, both Suri and Chen Xing knew that Wang was waiting for their reply. Who wanted them to be the intellectual leaders of the Tiangong group? Suri was the first to appear. As Tianquan's executive officer in charge of all tasks, including intelligence, no one understood the current situation better than him. King, according to my subordinate's speculation, the previous star-crossing strike capability should be the so-called Herpolius project by the rebels. And judging from the effects, it is obvious that it has the same ability to strike across galaxies as Magi. Of course I know this. What I want to ask is if there is a way to silence the so-called Herpolius. I don't want to be targeted by Star Destroyer level strikes every day. Huaye spoke with a somewhat impatient tone. Before Suri could speak again, Chen Xing also stepped out of the queue and spoke. King, don't worry too much. It's actually very simple to eliminate the threat of Herpolius. We just need to open up the front and entangle the rebels. This way, the rebel Herpolius can be trapped with nothing to fight against. Situation. Then it is necessary to eliminate the threat of Herpolius. King, I suggest sending elite troops past the main force of the rebels to destroy Herpolius in the rear. Chen Xing's words are actually very simple to understand. As long as we get mixed up with the enemy, the other party will not use weapons of mass destruction. Then we only need to send people to destroy Herpolius. After thinking for a moment, Huaye could only nod and spit out one sentence. It seems that's all it can do. The movements of the Tiangong group were not hidden from the Nine Kings Alliance. It would be better to say that there was no intention of hiding it at all. When the army under Huaya opened their front and entered the Kangal star system, the buffer area between the two sides, this meant that the two sides had officially begun a decisive battle that would determine the direction of the Angel Nebula in the future. Seeing that Huaya was so impatient, the Nine Kings Alliance army naturally did not react without response. Each Angel King led his legions to attack the Tiangong army that had opened its front. While the two major military groups of the Angel Nebula were fighting to the death in the Kangal star system of the Angel Galaxy, Binghua's Sky Sword Legion was still digesting the fruits of victory after the Battle of Hal. During this period, Binghua finally decided on the materials and design for the whip sword, and had already begun the final casting work. Another good news is that the experimentation and improvement of the first-generation thunder tactics proposed by Binghua have reached the final stage and can be initially put into actual combat. At the same time, the second-generation flying sword weapon module has a total of 2,000 pieces. The Han sword with a certain red gold content has been produced. In addition, its attached strong electromagnetic catapult and micro-wormhole improvement algorithm have also been completed. Binghua's attack methods have also become more effective at both near and far. Binghua even feels that he is facing off against Sokka. He can defeat Sokka within a period of time even without wearing the army-breaking armor. Of course, it is limited to defeat. If the third-generation super soldier wants to escape, Binghua will not be able to pursue him. Unless he is restrained in place by her newly forged God-beaming lock, Binghua will have no chance to pursue him at his flying speed. Up. On the emerald green grassland, there are grasses that reach to the knees. They rise and fall with the breeze in the vast plain. Today, Angel Ran took some free time for a long time and was dragged here by Binghua. Ran, I've been strengthening and upgrading myself recently. Come on, let's practice today. Binghua spoke with a slight smile. This time she was not wearing a heavy army-breaking armor, but a silver armor that belonged exclusively to the Legion commander. It was much more gorgeous than ordinary angel warriors, and the silver-gray cloak behind her was even more powerful. Let people distinguish Binghua from ordinary female angel warriors. Faced with Binghua's proposal, Angel Ran also felt a burning desire to fight, but was a little hesitant. Sister Binghua, are you going to fight me in that armor? Binghua stretched out her small white palm and waved it, and said at the same time. No, no, how is that possible? That would be too bullying for you. I will fight you wearing this outfit. Only then did Angel Ran feel relieved. She had seen the power of the Pajun armor. Its defensive power was extremely abnormal and its attack power was not weak. Coupled with Binghua's fighting consciousness, beating her would be like torturing her. That's good. Sister Binghua, please don't be too careless, otherwise I will take away the most powerful title. Angel Lan no longer hesitated, because he had a good relationship with Binghua, and there was no one else around except Angel Lan, so he spoke more casually. Binghua's reputation in the entire Tianjian Legion is very high, not because of her status as the Legion leader, but because Binghua has an almost top-notch appearance and powerful strength. Although there are no clear rules, angel civilization still worships the strong. Without strong strength, it is difficult to convince the crowd, because a sheep cannot lead a group of wolves for a long time. At the same time, Binghua was also recognized by the ordinary soldiers of the Heavenly Sword Legion as the strongest in the Legion. As a soldier, Angel Ran naturally wanted to challenge what level the so-called strongest had reached. Although Ran is usually involved in Legion affairs, this does not mean that Angel Ran neglects to train herself. Rather, as the number 2 figure in the Legion, she has always been very strict with herself. Now that Binghua had asked for a competition, plus not wearing that heavy armor, Ran was very excited. Angel Lan, who was floating in the sky not far away, felt very sympathetic to his friend Angel Ran, because he would definitely be tortured by Binghua in a moment. No one knows better than Lan, who has been assisting Hyuka in upgrading and improving his weapons, How powerful Hyuka is now with full firepower. Binghua looked at Ran, who was dozens of meters away, and asked with a soft chuckle on his face. Are you ready? The angel's long golden hair was tied into a high ponytail on the back of his head. Under the slanted bangs on his forehead were a pair of eyes burning with fierce fighting intent. At the same time, the flaming sword was already in his hand. Sister Binghua, you will definitely be surprised by me soon. Then I'm looking forward to it. The soft smile on Binghua's face began to disappear, and turned into an eager look. At the same time, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Strictly speaking, Binghua was a fighting maniac. He preferred to find a target to use instead of testing data. To test the weapon itself in actual combat. A silver-gray, red-edged, narrow one-handed rapier was carried out of the wormhole by Binghua. My new weapon, the name of the sword is Languang. Please be careful for a while, it is very fast. Binghua held the hilt of Languang's sword and hung it by his side. He kindly reminded Ran, but the response he got was just one sentence. Don't worry. With Sister Binghua as my opponent, I will never be careless in the slightest. Because I am busy at work during the day, I only have one update. Also, please forgive me for my poor naming skills in this book, I have terminal cancer. Super Seminary Angel Binghua. Author, Shifeng Si Wang. Chapter 90. While speaking, Angel Ran held the flaming sword horizontally in front of him, and the white thighs exposed under the skirt armor stood forward and back to stabilize his center of gravity. I'm coming. Binghua leaned forward and held the rapier Languang in his right hand, hanging behind him. The white wings on his shoulders spread out, as if he would incite and push his body forward at any time. Come on, I'm ready. As soon as Angel Ran finished speaking, no movement was seen from Binghua. A dark afterimage suddenly shot out in front of him, and a cold light from the tip of the rapier came directly into Angel Ran's pupils. His eyes instantly condensed, Angel Ran flapped his wings behind his back, dragged his body to one side to dodge, and at the same time, the horizontal flaming sword thrust forward. False. When? The next moment Angel Ran screamed out in shock, because the flaming sword in her hand easily pierced Binghua's body without any substance at all. Just when Angel Ran was surprised, a flash of cold light suddenly appeared, penetrating through the Binghua figure that had been pierced by the flaming sword, and stabbed straight into his chest. Although the attack came suddenly, as a veteran who survived the Battle of Mero, Angel Ran's combat awareness would naturally not make her as dazed as a new recruit. The right hand holding the flaming sword pulled back and moved to the left at the same time. The sword crocodile of the flaming sword blocked the sharp tip of the sword at the critical moment, and the force of the rebound almost made it impossible for Ran to hold it. Stop the hilt of the sword in your hand. Did you block it? It really surprised me. Ran, but this is just the beginning. Binghua's slightly admiring voice came, and the next moment the rapier retreated, followed by dozens of stabs that could not tell the difference between true and false, attacking at the same time. Angel Ran had never seen such an attack before, and for a moment he didn't know how to block it. He could only use the flames as a shield to block his vital points. However, the expected pain did not come. Angel Ran moved the flaming sword that blocked his sight, and saw Binghua holding up the thin sword Languang with a smile. Angel Ran's face turned red, he quickly put down his flaming sword and spoke in a low voice, a little frustrated. Sister Binghua, I lost. Binghua put down her rapier Languang and spoke to comfort him. Don't be too frustrated, Ran. That was a new attack method I came up with. It's normal that you can't block it for the first time. Hearing Binghua's comfort, Angel Ran's face turned red, and she reluctantly uttered a word for a long time. I lost before I even used my achievements during this period. Sister Binghua, how about we have a competition? After hearing this, Binghua turned around and looked at Ran for 2 seconds before agreeing. Okay. It just so happens that I have other things that I haven't tested in actual combat. The alternating virtual and real trick just now is just the most basic wartime application of light and shadow. The alternation of virtuality and reality is a further application of light and shadow algorithms that Binghua has recently researched. The Binghua that Angel Ran saw rushing towards him with a sword was actually just an illusion created by Binghua using the light and shadow algorithm, and Binghua was following closely behind the illusion in front. When the angel attacks and sees through the illusion, Binghua will suddenly penetrate the realistic illusion formed by light and shadow, and stab the opponent's fatal part with the thin sword in his hand. If Binghua used this move on the battlefield, he might be able to kill an unwary second-generation warrior of the same level with one sword. The same principle applies to the intensive thrusts that Angel Ran felt unable to defend in the end. With Binghua's current ability, it was naturally impossible to stab dozens of swords at the same time. That already involved space-folding technology. Lan Guang's real thrust was hidden among the dozen or so other thrusts refracted by light and shadow, creating the illusion of being unblockable. Although this method is a bit tricky, it is extremely useful. Sometimes this kind of virtual and real attack can often achieve great results. The two sides once again distanced themselves and fought on one side. Binghua raised her rapier again. This time she planned to use some advanced applications of light and shadow algorithms. Angel Ran didn't care about reservations at this moment, closed her eyes and started running the driving algorithm, because in the brief battle just now, she already understood how big the gap between herself and Binghua was, and she couldn't hesitate at all. Binghua still leaned forward, but this time it was not as simple an attack as before. He silently activated the multiple light and shadow refraction algorithm. In an instant, the light and shadow on Binghua's left and right sides distorted, and 6 illusions that were exactly the same as Binghua gradually solidified from illusion. Then all the ice flowers jumped up on the spot, scattered in all directions in the air, and at the same time raised their swords to stab Angel Ran. From a distance, it looks like Angel Ran is surrounded by 7 ice flowers holding Lan Guang. Angel Ran had already opened his eyes when Binghua started to create the illusion, and saw several Binghua stabbing him with swords around him. He did not dodge immediately, but instead thrust the flaming sword into the ground under his feet. A familiar sound of electricity suddenly sounded in the air, and then a thick blue electric snake radiated out in all directions with Angel Emissary as the center. Binghua also had a look of shock on her face, but that wasn't what surprised her, because the next moment Angel Ran suddenly turned around and hit him with the flaming sword. Binghua easily dodged with one side of his body, but instead of continuing the attack, he stepped back to avoid the blazing electric snake. Angel Ran did not pursue her, because she was breathing rapidly, and then the electric snakes shooting out of her body suddenly disappeared, and she half knelt down. "How did you discover me just now?" Binghua murmured to herself. She was still thinking about how Angel Ran found her true body among the 6 illusions just now. "Ran, are you okay?" Lan, who was watching the battle from a distance, quickly flew over to check on Ran's condition and said enviously, "I didn't expect you to learn the lightning drive algorithm and use it in battle. I just learned it, so I'm a little reluctant to use it." Angel Ran stood up with Ian's help, and then the two of them saw Binghua, who was deep in thought. "Sister Binghua, what's wrong with you?" When Binghua came back to his senses, he remembered that now was not the time to think about the failure of light and shadow refraction, but he could ask Angel Ran, who was the true master, first. "It's okay, I just got lost in thinking about a problem and couldn't react for a while." Binghua touched the long black hair around her ears in embarrassment, then looked at Ran and started to praise. "I didn't expect you to have learned the lightning drive algorithm, Ran. It really surprised me." Speaking of which, Binghua realized that he had a question to ask, so he asked, "Ran, how did you tell from the illusions just now that it was me?" Angel Ran also recovered at this moment. Due to the sudden explosion of Ran, Binghua no longer had the temperament to continue the discussion, so the three girls found Alon to do it. Sister Binghua, you just said that you used the light and shadow refraction algorithm to create the illusion. As far as I know, the principle of light and shadow refraction is to use the transmission of light to make a scene in one place appear in another place. If you want to create an illusion that is as real, the calculation of light and shadow must be very complicated, so I thought about whether I could use radial lightning to disrupt the surrounding light and propagate the original data. Unexpectedly, I succeeded. I'm in a bit of a bad mood today, so I'll update it first and then make up for the second update at noon tomorrow. In addition, I would like to thank the book friends who supported this book by giving tips a few days ago.